Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44, Bitchute channel, True Divine 44, and Facebook page, True Divine 44. Any likes, shares, subscribes, and tweets on Instagram or Twitter is greatly appreciated. Instagram and Twitter is the True Divine. So this is the daily content that I put out to help support, guide and inspire those who want to be supported, guided and inspired. Take what resonates as it is general and ditch what does not. No offense taken whatsoever. Leave a comment. I always appreciate the comments. I've gotten a few days behind on replying to them just because of birthdays. I do have 3 children and their birthdays are on 3 consecutive months. So it's been a busy time, but I will get back up to replying to those comments and of course reading them, which I love doing. So this is for the 24th of February 2021. It's a combination of the energy work that I do and the tarot work that I do to help give that guide of the energies you might feel within, around you and within others on any given day. So gives you a bit of foresight, a bit of a heads up, a bit of a one-upman or one-up-womanship as to how the game goes on your day. So let's see, on the bottom of the deck we have the six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles, speaking of where you put your worth, where you put your work, your blood, sweat, your tears, the charity that you give and the balance that you keep of that. The wise man gives to the cause that is felt to be worthy, but the wise man knows that even the most worthy causes, the most needy causes, if they are not paid into with wisdom, then you can get into trouble. So this is about balance. It's 3 pentacles on one side and 3 pentacles on the other side. On this card, you see that it's about a lot of the charity that is being given has been for nefarious causes, the big charities. There's much more information. I've kept saying this and it's kept coming out in small amounts, but there's much more information to be leaked, to be spoken about the true benevolence or malevolence, more like, of these big corporate type charities. And people have been paying their hard-earned money, their hard-earned blood, sweat and tears, because most of that goes into the end product of money and finances into these organizations, into these charities, and it has not been used for good. A small amount gets used for good and the rest goes to funding other things. And so it's never quite reaching those people who are putting those pentacles into those charities wished for it to reach in the first place. And in fact, in a lot of cases, which will come out eventually, harming those very people that they were led to help. And so this is the wisdom in the Six of Pentacles. It also speaks of there's a scorpion here behind the pentacles of this sort of authority figure that is counting the pentacles, this tiny little scorpion hidden, and that being a nasty bite, so to speak. And that there's a nasty bite to the energy of this card, and so that will leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So look out for the information, not just today coming out on that. That's been a long running thing with my intuition of this is going to be happening soon, this divulging of the truth regarding a lot of these big charities. So there's that on the collective stage. There is also the fact of in your individual life, it's the wisdom in this card of the more that you try and hold on to an element, whether that be earth, pentacles, water, emotions, fire, the passions, or air. If you hold on to any of these elements for too long, in varying degrees for length of time, you're going to die. You're going to suffocate those very elements that you're clinging on to. And so the Six of Pentacles has the wisdom to know that when you do give of what you have, being of service with it, then there is this energy feedback and there is this physical feedback of abundance of more coming towards you. So the Six of Pentacles knows to have things in flow, to not cling on too hard, because then you start to dip into the Five of Pentacles, which is the lack mentality, the lack of. And so this is where the flow has to be kept, but the wisdom of where to allow it to flow is paramount. And so that's the energy of the overall reading, underpinning the overall reading. Now, to clarify, the overall part of the reading is the Hierophant. Major Arcana hasn't been seen too much in the general daily readings. And this is speaking of, it's number 5. So we've got a 5 and a 6. It's speaking of the hidden, the esoteric, mesoteric, and exoteric, the divulging of knowledge, deep esoteric knowledge, deep physical knowledge being given to people who are able to see it, feel it, and know it, people who are able to receive it. It speaks of bringing down all of those 3 layers into the physical knowing. And there's a lot more information for people who are in awareness of this and ready to receive this kind of knowledge and understand this kind of knowledge of the true makeup of what is being made into this game, as in this reality, and how it's constructed and who's in control of it and what's being done with it. On this card, it's very telling in that this big Hierophant dragon has this puppet dragon. It has it on puppet strings, a little dragon on puppet strings, puppet in it. And so with these charities, this speaks of this being linked in the information being divulged about this regarding how emotions, heart space is being puppeted like a puppet on strings in order to facilitate the system, facilitate the game, and the top players staying in the top. There's deep inner standings on an individual basis coming through today also, just like yesterday, in that just this great inner standing, truths building on truths, things clicking into place, people saying things maybe off the cuff to you today, not realizing quite how poignant and quite how important as a piece to your puzzle that off the cuff statement was. And so this really has a clicking effect today as to the things that you are being led to understand more, to have a greater grasp of. And so going into the reading, we've got the Six of Cups, so another 6. This happened yesterday with doubling up numbers. So we've got the 6 of Cups, and you can see here this potter has these terracotta pots behind, and this one silver pot on his wheel, and the pile of dust. And the 6 of chalices, 6 of Cups, speaks of it speaks of the past. It speaks of emotional ties to your past. Now, this might be way in your past on an individual basis, or quite recent, even in recent years, weeks, months, weeks, days. But mostly it's more into the years category, I think, for more people, if not for a lot of people way back when. And it's the past is turned to dust. There's this huge emotional tie that has held people down to the past, the emotional connections with the past, whether that's having an emotional connection with somebody that you've lost in one way or another, death, separation, arguments, that there's this holding on to it, and just the more you hold on to it, the more you try and make a pot out of it, a cup out of it, a chalice out of it, the more it turns to dust, in your hands, the more it just doesn't, it's there, it's tangible, but then when you go to reach it or you go to recreate it again today, it's not tangible, it's dust, it disintegrates in your hands. there's this need to disconnect from a lot of what we've been manipulated and corrupted to be so emotionally connected to. Going back to this little dragon, the puppet on the strings, part of the reading. Speaking of the emotional ties, even to these charities again, the way that we get our heart space, our emotions, and we get them used as a puppet is used, and we dance to somebody else's tune and somebody else's agenda, and it's dust. It's not being real. And so even the most real connections from the past today, if you find yourself knowing that they are holding you back from something new, from something going forward, from something fresh, then that's your indicator that, you know, it's time to let go of this. No matter how much you've been indoctrinated to hold on to it, no matter how much you've been you know, how much you fooled yourself to thinking that you have to live in the past. There's a lot of living in the past. There's a lot of not looking forward for the need to look back a little bit too often. And yes, the history proves past, but actually a lot of the history that we've been told, that we've been taught, is bullshit anyway. And so we're holding on to this dust, this history, this pride in certain aspects of society, whatever aspect that might be for you. We're holding on to this pride, and it's dust. It's not even real. It's a depiction of a false reality that we were deliberately emotionally connected to. And that's happened through family lines also. You know that a lot of families have a political affiliation because of who believed in who, the generation above them, rather than their true resonating factor. They just go along with what the family has already done for a long time. And so there's a need to let go of this. The Three of Pentacles clarifies this Six of Cups. And so on the collective stage, this is where there has been true teamwork being done. Even teams that seem to be against one another, there's been true teamwork being done to create these emotional ties in advertisement, in business, knowing that that's a real strength and weakness at the same time of the human heart, of the spirit that's having this physical experience, this emotional tie. It's as if we come here and we're so overwhelmed with the fact that we can actually feel the emotions in the physical, that I don't know, it's a strength and a weakness. And there's something about that coming out regarding how powerful that has been, and how these seemingly opposite sides, these opposite teams, have worked together at some point or a lot of points to create these emotional ties. I didn't realize he was still out, Bun. So as far as an individual basis, what's coming through for that? As far as an individual basis, there's a lot of safety in teams, and we build up these emotional connections, which then build up these teams, and there's a lot of emotional anchoring in a collective space with people who either have the same need or have the same want or have the same passions and drives. The camaraderie that is created in teams, again, is a strength to a great extent for that team. But the emotional and overwhelming emotional connections and feeling like you've got to, once the team becomes established, honor that team no matter what. So even when you have moved or moving out of the space of that team, of that side, it's difficult to move out of it because you start to see the holes in it, but at the same time, you've built up real emotional connections with not just the message of whatever side or team it is, but also the people within it. And you can't quite believe that that you would ever want to walk away from it, but a lot of you are feeling that push that it's very necessary. And it only takes the weakness of a team or a side is that it only takes one undercover infiltrator of that team, and there's usually a lot more than that, with a wound, a hurt, a pain, or an agenda, or an agenda driven by that, to corrupt the side or corrupt or a want for power. And move through that team quite swiftly to cause the whole side or the whole team to go off on a different tangent, on a different agenda, way, way away from the original mission. And so I don't know who that is for and under what context that will lie, but it runs deep emotionally. It runs very deep. Some of you have been in gangs. Some of you are in gangs. And of course, I don't expect for you to leave a comment. But there's this push or a group, but mostly gangs. And those emotional ties, even when you've been out of them for a while, run deep. The feeling of the honouring of the brotherhood, the sisterhood, it's got those see, the way a group works, the way a side works, is that it has to play on the emotions. It has to puppet those emotional heartstrings to keep everybody whole, to keep everybody looking after each other, watching each other's back. And then debts are owed. And so the thing ravels up real quick into a tight knot where everybody is co-existent, but also what's the word? When there's a co-reliability there, there's a codependency, that's the word. There's a codependency then to keep each other's secrets, to move, with the consensus of the group, to not move outside of it. And so there's a few of you that might be having some problems with this, either emotionally or financially. A lot of these groups, these gangs, can give emotional and physical, i.e. money, value to them. And some of you are struggling as to how the things that you've seen or the things that you've witnessed, or just the spiritual changes with this Hierophant card and this Six of Pentacles, this wisdom that has come of, actually, have you been really following your path? Have you been really following your heart? Have you been really doing the right thing within this gang, within this group, within this side? And you're realizing that a lot of the sayings that you say to one another now in this space is bullshit. A lot of the, having each other's back. Yeah, you have each other's back to a point, to a line, and you're figuring out that line is, for the most part, not representative of what the words are, that you'll always have each other's back. And this is painful. This is, this is the man, looking at his pot, realizing it's dust. There's a lot tied up in this, a lot. We've got the Temperance card as the next card, so another major arcana. This speaks of balance, this speaks of wholeness, this speaks of being able to be sad, happy, glad, in mourning. And I feel, especially for the people who resonated with this side, this gang, this affiliation, in mourning, emotional mourning for the fact that it hasn't or doesn't represent what you represent now or then. It doesn't have what you need anymore. And so there's this space of the Temperance card where you can feel those emotions, where you can work your way through those emotions. There's both men are weeping in these cards, and allow that energy to die to a transmuted energy that can take you forward. Temperance is about staying in balance, in perfect balance, in creating balance, not necessarily expecting that everything should be balanced at all at any one given time, because it's not, but expecting with this Hierophant card, with the new skills that you have or that you're accepting for yourself, to be able to transmute these energies, even the great sadness that you feel over this. As far as the collective stage, there is this need for balance, and there is this need to truly be able to truly face, in the strength of the Temperance card, seeing the truth behind the veil of what seemed good, of what seemed charitable, and being able to take that and being able to see the truth of it, knowing that you can mourn that and transmute through that, creating that balance in calmness, without being off the handle, without flying off the handle. There's a real letting go energy to this Temperance card. The Knight of Swords clarifies the Temperance card, and so this is where very, very truthful, very quick messages coming through with this Knight of Swords. It's the words, thoughts, the air, the wisdom, the truths, and there's certain truths coming through here that need to be transmuted with the Temperance card, and they're coming through hard and fast. There's no more denying, and this gives emphasis to the Six of Cups, you know, that the past turn into dust. It's not even what you led yourself to believe. We've got the Hangman, so a lot of major arcana, big major arcana together in here, because this is another major arcana being the Hangman, and this is about being able to be in stillness, being able to be in calmness in order to receive the enlightenment. It's about growth. It's about being comfortable in the uncomfortable today, about finding a space of stillness and calmness, to be observant in the chaotic today, to be able to temper those emotions and observe the way things are as they are coming through, with this Knight of Swords energy leading into this Hangman energy. It's about growth, it's about expansion, and it is about spiritual enlightenment, and it is about quite literally looking at something from a different direction. It's the hanging man, the hanged man. It's about looking at something from a completely different point of view, through a completely different lens, through a completely different mind's eye, from a completely different perspective. And with that, we've got the Knight of Wands. And so this is a bit of a challenging energy. In the Knight of Wands is very mission-led, very experience-led, very excitable energy. And this Knight of Wands is on fire. It wants to move. It wants to burn through the path. It wants to go forward. It wants to experience and indulge in this creative, fiery, passionate energy. And the calling here is for these truths come in with these Knight of Swords, whatever those truths are to you. And the challenge with that is there's this challenge to stay still, to be able to transmute the energies with the Temperance card. And then we're met with the other challenge of the Hangman, being in stillness again, looking at things from a different perspective, being observant, not being in action. And we have the challenge of the Knight of Wands energy coming in, that is pulling you to act, that is pulling you to move, and to move quickly. Both of these knights are pretty quick. So there is, from the outside in and from the inside out, this drive to go against what the advice is today. This time that you want to react today, when the wisdom is calling for you to observe, transmute, be still. So there's probably something coming up from the collective stage, that a lot of these truths coming out have a chance to really ignite a part of the collective. And that would be Again, another planned thing. What date is it? The 24th. So the 24th. So what would be planned? So again, another event that could be taken over, hijacked, which is this is the important thing, to be really discerning about the people that you're spending time with and the people that you're affiliating with, and whether they truly resonate with your mission, with your heart space, with your discernment. And if they don't, move away from them quickly, or you could get on an individual level and on a collective level in great trouble, being maneuvered into position, which would actually seem like it's going against the narrative or against the grain, but actually it would be helping. It would be another photo shop event. I got Photoshop from. So we've got the Ace of Cups, the Three of Wands in reverse. So asking us to have this newness about us, to have this comfortability in the newness, in the new way of being, to really focus on emotions, heart chakra space. Today we've got the Five of Wands on the bottom of the deck, conflict, you know, arguments flaring up. To be in this space is the absolute advice. In the cup runneth over. You've got everything you need right now. Just be still in that and learn to love yourself in that, learn to be in that, learn to be whole. We've got the Three of Wands in reverse, and so any action taken today from something that you're still in mourning about, or still in anger about, or still feel used about, would be action that you'd be better off not taking, for sure. As far as the ramifications, there is the Eight of Swords after that, and so this would speak to some of you could be led, and some of you very manipulatively, emotionally led into being locked in a cell later on tonight, if you take the action that you're being poked and prodded to take. If you're not very strategic about this, very still and very tempered about it, very much in temperance, in balance, in observation and stillness. And the bear might get poked quite a bit, you know, a real test for some of you today to not react to this. It also, regarding prison time, it might be that a loved one is facing some kind of thing today regarding a judgment or regarding the next stage of facing imprisonment. And this might not necessarily be a bad thing. It might actually be saving them from a lot worse, but I'm not going to go too far into that because it would be far too much of a personal reading for whoever that is. It speaks of without being able to meet the challenge of these two knights, the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands, and go with the major arcana, which trumps the minor arcana, in temperance and in the observant hangman, the stillness of the hangman. This is it would result in you having very self-sabotaging thoughts, cyclical thoughts, the what ifs running through your mind, and them growing into something of a despair, this inner conflict also with this Five of Wands. So there's a lot of growth and expansion to be had here today. There's a lot of spiritual leveling up and knowing to be had today, but that's not met without challenge. And not much in this reality is, to be quite frank, and we're in times that, you know, the stakes are high, and so the discomfort can be real high at the moment when we are given an opportunity through our own paths to expand and grow in consciousness, in knowing, in remembrance. And so there's this real challenge to be met, but you are all capable of meeting that challenge. You are all capable of keeping your temper. You are all capable of staying in balance, even in the most chaotic situations. And so this is down to each and every one of us today to navigate these energies and realize and know that we're going to rock the hell out of them, that we're going to expand and grow. And those people who are coming at us unfairly, or maybe not unfairly, maybe because we stayed in the wrong place too long, and that would be on us. So we recognize that, and we can be good with that and whole with that and still with that and transmute that. And so that's my spoken intent for whoever resonates with this reading today. So I hope it helps, and I hope it helps you reach your highest growth and potentials. And whoever is poking said bear, tell them to poke off. Or don't even do that. Don't even give them that. But I'm telling them to poke off. So much love, stay balanced and stay whole. Hook up for a private reading, spiritual coaching, or energy work at truedivinemedia@gmail.com. Like and share and subscribe to this channel and Bitchute. I really do appreciate it and love you all for doing so. So have a great, great day. Mwah.